I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this and I will take that ride home.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Green, rolling. In your track. Check it up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network. Tonight, it is championship night for the Fuel Premier Series as they're going to take on the Homestead-Miami Speedway. My name is Chris Graham, as always, joined for the Fuel broadcast by Mr. Patrick Byrne. And I'll tell you what here, Bizzle, a long season, 16 races will come to an end here tonight, but man, this has been a fun one, and we're going to get to give out some big-time kudos tonight. Thomas Bressi has the championship locked up. Qualifications just getting to roll here, but Homestead-Miami Speedway, always a place for some pretty good racing.
Yeah, this track is one of the first tracks to feature progressive banking. You can make moves on the bottom, you can make moves on the top, and these cars just race fantastically well around here. And I hope they'll put on a show for us tonight. Even though Thomas Bressi has won the championship, I hope he still proves it to us why he won the championship.
Yeah, as we're picking up here on Justin Munsell as he is waiting at the end of pit road, he is going to be one of the first cars to go off onto the pit lane off the pit lane and onto the racetrack, I should say. Also going to see Chad Mikas, Brian Keita, and Matt Owens getting ready to roll off here momentarily as well. Homestead, like you mentioned, is if the track races well, the cars, the Xfinity Series or B-Class cars, always seem to run pretty well here. But it's also a place that a lot of times chalk is going to come to the front. The guys that you expect to be good are going to be very good, especially the later in the going that this race goes.
Yeah, the reason this track has been selected as the finale track for so many years in NASCAR racing itself is because it requires a little bit of everything. It's a strategy track, it's a driver's track. Sometimes it races like super speedway, sometimes it races like short track. So you have to be prepared for anything if you want to win here. And that's why the cream of the crop, the top guys, always make it to the front because this track can change direction so quickly. And if you can't adapt, you're not going to stay up there.
Yeah, and that's that's a big one here. Is we're going to wait here just a moment to see these cars roll off, but it seems like Homestead-Miami is a place that you have to execute all the way around. You have to be good on and off of pit road, and this is a tricky pit road to get on and off of. You have to execute the strategy calls the right way as well. You were likely to see some caution flags here tonight, so identifying when the strategy is fitting into how your car is handling, how much fuel you have on board at the moment, That's all kind of a game that in the real world, you have a crew chief and engineers and all these people that are setting it, handling that stuff for you. In the sim, a lot of times, you're really talking about just having the drivers have to do it themselves.
Yeah, when you're sitting there on your sim rig, unless you've got a lot of great friends helping you out, it's just you. You're sitting behind the wheel. You're your own crew chief. You have a little black box in the bottom of the screen that tells you how much fuel you got left and what your tires were at the last time you pit. So you got to figure out, do I need tires? How much fuel do I need? Doing all that math in your head. At the same time, you have a computerized spotter, which is great most of the time, but you still got to be staring in your mirrors figuring out where everyone else is. Because, let's face it, a computer is not as good as spotting as a real person. A computer's not looking all the way up the track watching for stuff. He's not looking behind you seeing who's got runs. He's just telling you literally what's next to you, and that's it. So you got to have your head on a swivel. You're doing everyone's job all by yourself. I would argue that being a top-level sim racer, unless you've got a huge team of people around you, is harder than being a top-level cup driver.
That's a hot take early on here. We may get back to this one here as we see the 98 of Justin Munsell out of Reno, Nevada, completing his lap for Sky Motorsports, Tahoe Blue Vodka, and Raycom on the side of that machine. Brian McFerrin in the 7, also completing lap number 1. Munsell going to be quickest of the two at a 34.020. Brian Young going to be moving up to second quick on the board as we pick him up in the number 86, another of our series rookies out of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada for Firelight Esports. Target, Firelight, and Rowdy Energy on the side of that one. Next cars to move out onto the racetrack will be the 33 of John Gervin out of Livonia, Michigan for Domination Intimidation Racing. Pepsi True Hockey and Pearl Drums on the side of the number 33. And also seeing, let's pick up the 73 of Kyle Cooper as he heads out onto the racetrack out of Mason, Michigan for Skidmark Central Racing. Old Style, Dynamic Motorsports, and Classic Instruments listed as the sponsor of the 73. John Gervin coming around to start lap number 1. Also on the racetrack right now is the number 10 of Daco Parka out of Clydesdale, Arizona for Skidmark Central Racing. Skidmark Central, the listed sponsor on that one. Fantastic Valvoline throwback colors, some Johnny Benson era colors on that machine. Let's pick up John Gervin as he makes his way through turns 3 and 4. He will be the first of this set of 3 cars to set a lap time. Gervin trips the timing line in 34.244 seconds. 34.24 with a 4 for John Gervin. He will be second quick, only 4 thousandths back of Justin Munsell for the top spot. Kyle Cooper going to be fourth quick at a 34.298. Let's see what Daco Parkett can do. He will move up into the 4th position, 34.285 seconds. Already 6 cars in the books, and nobody has gone faster than the first car out on the racetrack, that being Justin Munsell in the number 98, one of the series rookies. Let's see here. Brian Keita pulling out onto the racetrack in the number 66. Out of Bartlett, Illinois for Firelight Esports, also listing Player One Coffee and Jerky Pro on the side of that machine. Up on the right-hand side of your screen, we'll pick up the 65 of Brent Kusick, series rookie out of Charlotte, North Carolina for Domination Intimidation Racing. Lowe's Cookout and Cobalt. The listed sponsors on that Chevrolet Camaro. Also coming out onto the racetrack, the number 69 Hershey's Squirt entry of Don Runkle out of Kingman, Arizona. Pelletier McQuestion Simulations, the team for that number 69 machine. We'll slide back over here and pick up Brian Keita as he is going to be coming through turns 3 and 4 to complete his qualification lap. Off of turn number 4, checkered flag goes in the air for Brian Keita. He goes second quick, 34.147, 34.147. The lap time there for Brian Keita. Frank Kusick going to move up to 5th quick. Identical lap times, 34.269. The lap timer record for Brent Kusick and Brian Young. Don Runkle pulling off down to the inside of the racetrack after completing his lap at a 34.716. Oh, how about it? The 66 of Brian Keita going quick time, top of the board. 34.016 seconds. That was a hot lap there for Brian Keita. Now heading out onto the racetrack. On the left-hand side of your screen, the number 4 of Casey Shue out of Trinity, North Carolina for JT Motorsports. Snap-on, Exalta, and Raise Energy. Sponsors on that number 4 entry. Right-hand side of the screen, we'll have the 12 of Matt Owens, Series rookie out of Williamsburg, Virginia for Nerdy as Hell Racing. Dr. Squatch, Kettle Brand Potato Chips, and the Nerdy as Hell podcast. On the hood of that machine, Nerdy as Hell podcast presenting the Rookie of the Race and Rookie of the Year awards. Gotta say a huge thank you to those guys. Also coming around to trip the timing line now to start his hot lap is the 2 of Will Roberts out of Efland, North Carolina. Nerdy as Hell Racing and Red Light Media on the side of that number 2 Toyota Supra. The Nerdy as Hell podcast, the presenting sponsor on that car this week, as it has been the last handful of weeks here. Also have to thank Primate Pest Elimination for their support of the Hard Charger Award. Also, Chance 3 Design, who are the presenting sponsors of the Pole Award. Matt Owens coming across to trip the line in car number 12. He is going to move up to 3rd quick at a 34.222. New quick time. Will Roberts, 33.848. Wow, that lap was a flyer for Will Roberts. 17 hundredths of a second faster, 10th and a half quicker than everybody else that's been out on the racetrack at this point. Casey Shue going to be 11th quick at a 34.408. Next car is to get out onto the racetrack. Let's see who it's going to be here. Looks like we will have Brandon Wengard in the number 1. New colors there. Had the Subway colors on that car for the vast majority of the season. Wengard making his way out onto the racetrack. A little bit of a Dale Earnhardt Jr. throwback look. I don't know that Jr. ever ran the white car with the black and red stripes like that, but good look there.
Still a pretty neat throwback. I believe there was one car, I think it was a one-off like all-star race scheme that was kind of similar to that.
Either way, good-looking race car. Wengard, a series rookie out of Anderson, South Carolina for Domination Intimidation Racing. Subway, Wonder Bread, and Gear Wrench. The title sponsors on that one. Right-hand side of the screen. Hold on to it, buddy. That's Justin Morton in the 11 out of Sonoma, California for Total Downforce Racing. Black Box and Pixel Dust. The sponsors on that machine. Lil still running the St. Louis Blues throwback colors we saw 1 week ago at Gateway. Also on the racetrack is Travis McQuistion in the number 93 out of Tiffin, Ohio for Pelletier McQuistion Simulations. Craftsman, Fresca, and Amazon on the side of that machine as Brandon Wengard in the number 1 comes across the line. 34.316 seconds.
On the Google machine, that scheme is actually a Elvis Presley scheme that Dale Jr. ran in the 2007 season, but I'm trying to find what race it was actually run at. I believe it was Charlotte for the All-Star
No,
race,
actually, we've got the answer here in the comments. Thomas Bresci checking in. He ran the Elvis car in Richmond in 2007 or 2008. 07.
Okay. So
look at that. A couple of detectives over here making my job easy. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
yes, I vaguely remember the car.
22 with Rob Ackley making his way out onto the racetrack. Travis McQuistion with a very good run 33.934, moving up to second quick. Right now, Will Roberts and Travis McQuistion will make up the front row for tonight's race. Also heading out onto the racetrack is the number 81. That is Brandon Bernhardt. First, we'll tell you about the car on the left-hand side of your screen. That is Rob Ackley, series rookie out of Watertown, New York, for keeping it real esports. The Mara Racing Network on the side of that number 22. Right-hand side has the 81 of Brandon Bernhardt from Harrisburg, South Dakota for Endeavor Racing, Old Smoky Moonshine, Black Rifle Coffee Company, and Meat Church Barbecue. Also on the speedway right now is the number 5 of Tyler Hensley out of Knoxville, Tennessee for JT Motorsports, Discount Tire, Milwaukee Tools, and Exalta. On the side of the number 5, we'll switch back over here to Rob Ackley as he goes second quick, 33.933. Very good lap there for Rob Ackley. Brandon Bernhardt in the 81 going to move himself up into the 4th position with a lap time of 33.979, and he will very quickly be replaced by Tyler Hensley, 33.956, the lap time a record for Tyler Hensley. Have 18 cars that have taken time at this point out of the 22 that we will see out on the racetrack. Next up will be the 25 of Chad Mikas. Chad out of Wheeling, West Virginia for Domination Intimidation Racing. Mountain Dew, Valvoline, and Ally. Sponsors on that Chevrolet Camaros. He's going to make his way down the backstretch. Also heading out onto the speedway, the number 9 of Hayden Pistorius out of Corunna, Ontario, Canada. Total Downforce Racing, Hooters, Napa, Mountain Dew, the sponsors on the number 9. Finally on the racetrack to complete this set of 3 will be the number 13 of Blake Gordon. Gordon out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, driving for Endeavor Racing. We'll pick back up Chad Mikas because he's going to be the first one to trip the line here. Making his way down the backstretch on his hot lap, Hayden Pistorius through turns 1 and 2. Blake Gordon just crossing the line, so they're going to continue to rapid fire these cars in qualifying. Chad Mikas goes second quick, 33.884. 4 1/1000ths separating Chad Mikas. Hayden Pistorius down over the line. He will go unscored, it looks like. Blake Gordon making his way across the start-finish line. Going to be good for 9th quick, 34.032 seconds for Blake Gordon. Hayden Pistorius looking at timing and scoring. His lap time, 36.46. So, obviously, a pretty big bobble there for Hayden Pistorius on his qualification lap. We are down to 7 cars remaining here in qualifications. Heading out now onto the racetrack is the 00 of Alex Vicelio, series rookie out of Westville, Illinois for Firelight Esports. Body Armor and Menards. The sponsors on the side of that one. Body Armor doing me a whole lot of good today. Needing to rehydrate significantly after the worst sunburn of my life yesterday. Good stuff from Body Armor. Joe Dinsmore on the racetrack on the right-hand side of your screen in the number 95 out of Berryville, Virginia for Steel Horse Racing, Dragon Ball Super, iRacing iFlag, and Steel Horse iRacing. Sponsors on that machine.
Did I get you hooked on Body Armor when you were up in Indy?
Yes, you did. The stuff is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, it's the best.
Also on the racetrack, the number 8 of Mike Stroll out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania for Domination Intimidation Racing. Yingling Lager, DC Shoes, Bass Pro Shops, the listed sponsors. But again, this is the throwback tribute livery. The Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship winning entry. Pick up Vicelio. Lap number 1 for Alex Vicelio, only going to be good for 21st quick at a 34.782. Joe Dinsmore moving up to 3rd quick, 33.9 seconds. Mike Stroll coming across the start-finish line. New quick time. 33.835. 33.83 with a 5 for new quick timer, Michael Stroll. He has been very good the last few weeks here. I believe it was the connection issues that bit him, getting caught up in some other people's stuff. Stroll really wants to close out the season on a high note here. Now it's time to bring up, we'll go full screen on this guy as he weaves his way down the backstretch, your new Fuel Premier Series champion out of Malvern, Pennsylvania for JT Motorsports, Thomas Bressi. Absolutely insane, the stuff he's done this season. 15 starts, 8 wins, 15 top 5 finishes. Every race this season, Thomas Bressi has finished inside the top 5. We're knocking on wood because we are not going to commentators curse him out of that. Let's go on board with Bressi as he makes his way down the backstretch. The last car to go out in qualifications, Johnny Edward, Cal Filarski, Chris Matthews will not set a time. The lap is complete, and Bressi only going to be good enough for 5th quick here in qualifications. 5th fastest for Thomas Bressi, 33.914 seconds. Twisted Autosports checking in saying, I know all about the sunburns. Dude, I'm here for any tip that you have. We sat at the beach all day going, we forgot to do something. Well, there's something we forgot. Yeah, we forgot the sunscreen on me after getting the kids all taken care of. Won't make that mistake again. But with that, qualifications look to be completed. I don't think we're going to see anybody else heading out onto the racetrack. So we'll put the ticker over the top of the screen here so we can show you all a little bit more information here. A lot of neat history here about the Homestead-Miami Speedway. This place originally opened in 1995 after breaking ground on the 1-year anniversary, 1-year anniversary, excuse me, broke ground in 1993 on the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Andrew that absolutely decimated South Florida.
Which is my birthday 5 years or so prior.
Well, there you go. But yeah, they broke ground on this place, and as an homage to Carl Fisher, who was not only one of the founders of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but also one of the architects of the city of Miami Beach. They shaped the track to be 1.5 miles, shaped just like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The problem was the corners, because it was so much shorter, were significantly sharper. Not only did it create for not very good racing, it also made for some absolutely terrible angles at which drivers hit the wall. So after 2 years of being opened, in 1997, they reconfigured into a basically flat oval. Then in 2003, they made the change to put the big banking that we know today in, sitting from 18 to 20 degrees in the corners. As we mentioned, this is round number 16 of the championship. 200 miles will be the distance for the 10 questions with Boomer 200. If you haven't checked that one out, make sure you find it. In fact, we'll get Boomer to send them over to us. We'll post them up on our website as well. His 10 question series with the drivers and some of the personalities of the Fuel Premier Series, such a great way to get to know some of these drivers. So make sure you check those out. The 10 questions with Boomer series. Cautions are controlled by iRacing. There is the choose rule at the start-finish line, so drivers will be able to choose inside or outside lane for the restarts. Unlimited attempts are available for the overtime. We mentioned the championship points. 56 points is the lead for Thomas Bressi, and it is insurmountable. 21, actually, I believe it's 46, typo on my part. But Thomas Bressi with a 46-point lead over Mike Stroll. Justin Morton sitting 57 back. Justin Munsell and Rob Ackley, your top 5. So we do have still a pretty decent battle here for for second, third, fourth, and fifth in points. And quite frankly, Patrick, that's a whole lot for these guys to race for here tonight.
Oh, yeah. And there's still a bunch of guys in contention for that second place. Even though Bresci has locked out himself for first, hey, we're still going to see a great race for these guys trying to fight for second.
So looks like the clock is just about to run out here inside of 1 minute. Twisted Autosport's been practicing for Daytona Road, and I'm not liking the bob on the front stretch. Yes.
Now, in the rest of the world other than America, we just call that a chicane.
Yes, but it's still unnecessary and silly.
Oh, it's the dumbest chicane in the world. That track has had that road course there for how many years now? It's been well over 50. We've never needed a chicane on the front stretch. Until NASCAR comes along and goes, hey guys, you know it'd be a great idea? We just put this turn here on the front stretch. We haven't needed it for almost 60 years now, but it'll be a good idea.
Yeah, we promise it's a great idea. Let's see if we can't bring in our championship winner here tonight. As we've got somebody revving the engines big time on pit lane. Thomas Bresci, congratulations. You are officially a Fuel Premier Series champion. Man, tell us about your season, and this was just, quite frankly, spectacular for you.
Yeah, it was definitely been a good year. Just thankful that I've had a year like I had, and going to try and win one more race tonight if we can. If I can, I'll tie the record for most wins in a season. So I think I got to lead like 105 laps or something to break the laps led record. That I don't think is going to happen, but we'll give it a go. Try to get one more here, and cap it off on a high note. But yeah, it's been a good year. I'm just happy to have had the season that I've had, and definitely a little bit more successful than the first one that I had 2 seasons ago when I only won one race. So, yeah, just going to have some fun tonight, try to get another win, and, yeah, enjoy it.
All right, bud. Well, good luck in the race here tonight. Hopefully we're talking to you again, but wanted to make sure we got you in for the interview in case something crazy happened. But it hasn't yet this season. We're knocking on wood saying that, by the way. Before we let you go, get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in here for really what has been just an outstanding championship season.
Yeah, I mean, again, just, shout out to the JT Motorsports guys. We're going to see if we can't make up a little bit of ground and try to take down the TDR guys for the team championship. I know they won it last season, so we'll see if we can spoil the party this year. But and shout out to them as well, for the co-opetition, as we've kind of called it. You guys for doing what you've been doing this year. Just the broadcasts have been awesome, and just the attentiveness has been great. And it's been really refreshing to see the admins, everything they do, all the sponsors and everything. So, and oh, good. And Will made a mistake, so we have unlimited fast repairs.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Hell yeah, full send, buddy.
Let's go.
I really hope that doesn't change things for the evening, but Lord knows.
It sounds like it now. That's awesome. Thank you for the breaking news there, Thomas, and good luck tonight, bud.
Well,
We
I
are
might have heard that they might be throwing a new session up. I don't know. We will see. Stay tuned? Question mark?
Yes.
No,
Okay, we're
let
not
the
rolling.
drivers
No,
have
we're
that.
not rolling, is what we've been told.
Test.
So,
All right. There we go. Oh, that's awesome. So the field getting ready to, well, let's see here. We have, it looks like we have everybody. Well, we've got a couple that are rolling here. Let's take a look and show you.
Already crashing into each other because they've got unlimited fast repairs.
That is correct. Let's take a look here and show you tonight's starting grid. They will be led to the green tonight. Well, oh, there we go. Let's see. Get the graphics up right for you here. There we go. Mike Stroll going to be your pole sitter. Lap time of 33.835 seconds. Will Roberts only 12 thousandths of a second behind. Chad Mikas and Joe Dinsmore on row number 2 tonight. Thomas Bresci and Rob Ackley on row number 3. Row 4 will have Travis McQuistion and Tyler Hensley. That's how far back you got to go to find a tenth of a second. Brandon Bernhardt and Brian Keita on row 5. Is now we got Joe Dinsmore lighting some donuts up here on the front straightaway.
I was gonna say he's still got a race on those tires.
Okay, I think we may be putting up a new session after all, judging by the amount of contact out here. But Brandon Bernhardt, Brian Keita on row 5, row 6, Justin Munsell, and Blake Gordon.
I'm going to find it really
7.
funny
Go ahead.
if these guys smash up these race cars and then they say, we're going to run this session.
Yes. Yes. Justin Munsell, Blake Gordon on row 6, Matt Owens, and John Gervin on row number 7. Row 8 will have Justin Morton and Brian Young. Row number 9, Brent Kusick and Dak Oparka. Row 10, Kyle Cooper and Brandon Wengard. Row 11, Brian McFerrin and Casey Shue. Don Runkle and Alex Vicelio on row number 12. Row 13 will have Hayden Pastorius and Chris Matthews. Johnny Edward Kalfalarski on row 14. That will round out the 28-car field tonight. We're going to leave this here for just a moment. It's not often that these guys get to screw around and play like this.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Yes.
I still say let them smash their stuff up. They've got unlimited fast repairs. And you have to start the race with your smashed up car from what you're doing right now. I think that would just be... It wouldn't be very serious, but it would be kind of comical. I mean, we've got a car with a blown up engine. Travis McQuistion's here. Just absolutely getting driven into.
Hunterito.
Oh, that was dirty.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a commercial break here. We will get loaded into the correct server. That should be created here momentarily. Until then, we will be back here in, we'll say just a couple of minutes anyway. You are watching the Fuel Premier Series right here on the National Racing Network.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this and I will take that ride home.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Welcome to the 34 Motorsports Product Showcase. We're proud to offer the full line of Simpson Racing safety products. The Shark Speedway is a perfect brain bucket to keep your melon as safe as possible. We carry every model and size of Hans device, and these have saved countless lives. The Hybrid Pro Lite is an alternative to the Hans device and is just as effective. The DNA 3-layer suit offers maximum protection when things get hot. And hey dude, those comfy shoes won't help one bit when things go south. Keep those hands ready to work with a pair of Vortex FIA gloves meeting every current standard. From 5 to 7 points, we carry every one of the Simpson harnesses, keeping your rear end right where it should be. Keep all your gear clean and together with the helmet and FHR bag, and always be ready to hop in a race car. Visit 34motorsports.com and order today.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. It's a lie. But as a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans,
real-world experience.
it's a story that rings true. We make excuses for how we feel. We push everything down. We tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. And some days, maybe, it is. But you've never been interested in easy. Reaching out is hard. Do it anyway. You're not alone. You've got this. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this and I will take that ride home.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Green, rolling. In your track. Check it up.
Three, two. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Another night of iRacing action. It sounds like we're just introing the show, but you haven't actually missed a thing. The Fuel Premier Series Championship Night, the 10 questions with Boomer 200 from the Homestead-Miami Speedway. My name is my name's Chris Graham. I'm joined in the booth by Patrick Byrne. Good Lord, it feels like I've been drinking all day, and I really haven't. Patrick, we saw some hot laps in qualifying, but now it's time for the real deal. Time for us to go racing here. All right, let's try this mic here. Patrick's telling me that I sound absolutely terrible. Hopefully this one sounds pretty good, or at least sounds a little bit better. You got me now, Patrick?
I've got you. It's better.
Okay. Well,
I wouldn't say fantastic though.
Well, that's kind of what your thoughts and opinions are here on Homestead-Miami Speedway in general. It's not a place that you love, but it does put on a heck of a show usually.
Absolutely. I can go on a rant on Homestead if you want to get your mic fixed.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So, Homestead, this is a fantastic track. I love watching racing here. It's a very dynamic track. It changes a lot throughout the course of race. Just like Indy, however, I have no luck here. I find, and I don't know if this is going to be an issue many of the drivers are having, but setting up a car to run here and actually be able to get a rhythm here is incredibly difficult, and I have a feeling that's something we're going to see tonight. The track changes so quickly. There's so many different lines you can run. 5 laps, the bottom line can be fast, and all of a sudden, just like a dirt track, that grip is going to move up high, and the high line's going to be fast, and you got to be real quick to adapt to that. Guys like Thomas Bresci, I think guys like him, Travis McQuistion, some of those guys up at the front, they are going to be able to adapt really quickly. Some other guys, though, this track is incredibly challenging, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have some guys here complaining about tire wear, complaining about just not being able to get the car to turn, or having the car be super loose. Yes, you sound better. You sound clear. It sounds like you fixed whatever was up. You sound a little bit underwater, but we'll say you're still at the beach, but you are clear coming through and there's no static.
There we go. It helps if I turn everybody on here now as well.
We at National Race Network just got a nice new soundboard, and our operator has no idea how to use it apparently.
Yes, it sounds like Patrick is still a little bit fuzzy. We're seeing the comments coming in, but we're unfortunately looks like this is what we're going to have to work with here tonight. Practice. So basically what we had was a server configuration issue, gave them unlimited fast repairs. That made it so they had to create a new server. No big deal. I think in the course of some of the flip-flops, we may have gotten a little bit of quite frankly, some software cross-talking on each other here. But now it's time for us to go out to grid.
And let's see. They're saying they can't hear you. I have no idea what would have gone on
they
there.
They can't hear me now.
Yeah, they should be able to hear you now. Let's see.
Nobody wants to listen to me anyway. It's all right.
Yeah, I got a copy on you, so you should be good here. Cars are getting lined up on pit road. We will bring the grid back up. We're not going to read through it again. We've already done that one once, but we will give you a look here at everybody. So getting set for... Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Get everything configured here, so we're showing you all the lap times, or laps instead of times. But cars getting out onto the racetrack, and we are just about ready to go here for 134 laps at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Pick up Will Roberts. He is your pole sitter tonight. We'll flip through to the next page of the grid here. There we go. Okay. The comments are saying we sound good now, Patrick, which is always a good start.
Excellent.
Yes. One of the keys to this race really is going to be not necessarily managing tires, but managing the equipment in general. Making sure that you hit the right spots on the racetrack where you want to be having the right car under you in the right moment. You don't want to get crazy off strategy unless there's a reason to.
Yeah, Homestead is difficult enough to pick a strategy at the beginning of the race, and you have to kind of stick to it. Unless something crazy, a caution out of nowhere throws you a curveball, you kind of got to stick to it and work backwards, almost like you would a road course race.
Field coming down to take the green flag, and as always, race fans, the start of the Fuel Premier Series, it's going to be all yours. Will Roberts was your pole sitter, but he will not lead lap number one. That honor going to go to Mike Stroll, side by side, a little bit further back in the pack. Travis McQuistion down to the inside of Tyler Hensley. Good battle shaping up here for the third position as well. That's Thomas Bressie looking to the outside of Will Roberts. Bressie working that outside lane of the racetrack. We've seen Kyle Larson run that high lane in the real world. In fact, even higher than this, Patrick. I would imagine that's something with the sun setting over the course of this race. Probably something we're going to see more of is you're going to see the high line move higher up as the race goes on.
Yeah, this track, I was comparing it to a dirt track earlier where kind of groove moves up throughout the night. It'll move back down. It's just dependent on where the clean air is and where the track is kind of the coolest. Because in this hot Miami sun, this track heats up quick, and a hot track is a slick track. So wherever there's a billboard hiding some of the track from the sun, or maybe a cloud moves over, silly stuff like that changes the groove of this racetrack very, very quickly.
Now Bressie trying to chop down to the inside a little bit on Will Roberts. Going to bring Rob Ackley with him off at turn number 4. Bressie not quite able to get clear, though. That's one of the things about the progressive banking. The inside is just as quick as the middle, theoretically, which should be just as quick as the outside.
Yeah, you only want to run as high as you have to. Any higher than you run from the bottom, you're going to get a huge run down these long straightaways. But these turns are so big as well that running the bottom line has its advantage. you're taking a much shorter circuit around this place. So that's really what makes this track such a fun one to watch people race at.
This good side-by-side battle for the third position. Quite frankly, have a couple of good battles going on here across the racetrack. Let's pull up the side-by-side here. We'll also show you the 66 of Brian Keita and the 11 of Justin Morton. Keita trying to run that outside lane. Now he's going to have to deal with Travis McQuistion as Bressie falls back in behind Will Roberts. That's going to put him up to the third position. 3 completely different lines we're seeing run. In fact, 5 different lines we're seeing run right now. It's on the both windows on your screen.
And that's the fun bit about this track, is all night we'll see cars pushing their ways all the way to the front. We'll see cars dropping back the entire race. But the one thing that'll stay consistent is the guys who stay at the front. That's what really makes this track a championship caliber track, and it's the reason so many stock car series in iRacing and of course the real world have ended their season at Homestead for so long. Phoenix is another track like that. That's why NASCAR is moved to Phoenix, and really there's only a handful of tracks that you could pick to be your finale just because of how broad they are in their skill sets.
Yeah, you want kind of a unique challenge, and years ago, and this is going back to we'll say the mid-1980s to the early 1990s, the regular shaped oval was kind of the standard. Week in, week out, you were at some kind of true oval shaped racetrack. Then we went to the cookie cutter building era where we got Texas and Kentucky and Chicagoland and Kansas, and all built in some sort of a model of either the Charlotte Motor Speedway or Michigan International. And the regular oval kind of went by the wayside. That's something that, quite frankly, we're seeing a little bit of coming back. The quad ovals, they need help, quite frankly. The racing can be okay on them, but it's stuff like PJ1 or some of the other resins and that kind of stuff. That's really what makes the racing good there. None of that junk here at Homestead. You can truly run this place anywhere.
Yeah, and in the drag racing world that I am familiar with in the real world, that PJ1 is fantastic stuff, but I don't think it has any place in oval racing. It comes up too quickly. You have a great race for the first half of it, and then the last half of the race, when it really matters, all of the stuff's been pulled off the racetrack. So I don't like that as a solution. There needs to be something else, either change to the package of the cars or something to make the races a little bit better.
Tell you what, this is a fantastic battle here. Daco Parka just ahead of Brent Kusick, Brandon Wengert, Hayden Pistorius, Matt Owens going to be there as well. That 5-car battle is a good one. On the right-hand side of your screen, we have Rob Ackley and Will Roberts. That's the battle for the third position. Good fights all over the racetrack. Now, do you have to be at least a little bit concerned about tires? I mean, obviously the weather conditions are not really crazy or anything, so maybe just managing a little bit. It's not like Homestead's, an Atlanta or a Darlington that's going to chew up tires.
No, Homestead isn't abrasive like some of those other tracks, so it's not going to kill tires as quickly. However, if you're not careful and you have no idea how to drive this place, you can very easily tear the right front off the car. So it's not abrasive in the sense that it's the same for everyone, but you control your destiny here when it comes to tire wear. That's another reason it makes this a championship caliber track, because your top guys, they're going to stay all the way up there and end up finishing all the way at the front because they can save those tires and be fast the whole time.
continuing to follow this battle a little bit deeper in the field. Let's slide up here, pick up Justin Morton, Justin Munsell running side by side through turns 1 and 2. That battle has settled down a little bit. Joe Dinsmore going to be funny. Oh, with Bresci, and he's going to turn a little bit of contact. What a save, Joe Dinsmore.
That's just not the kind of save that happens. I'm amazed.
Wow.
Frankly, if we're going to keep listing off reasons this is a championship caliber track, it's because you don't save race cars here unless you're one of the best. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him make his way towards the top here tonight.
Oh my goodness. Joe Dinsmore, save of the race, my friend. That was impressive. Thomas Bresci going to be able to come past. That's going to bring Justin Morton into play as well. Again, this is a 6-7 car battle here. Oh, caution is out. Yellow flag is out on the racetrack. Caution flag number 1 on the speedway. Let's take a look here, and it looks like trouble for Kyle Cooper and Johnny Edward. Take a look at the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay here. See what happened to the 73 of Cooper. Oh, a little bit loose. Tried to correct it. That car slides down to the inside of the racetrack. I don't think that's necessarily what's going to bring out a caution flag. Let's take a look here and see what happened to Johnny Edward. Maybe a little bit of the same kind of thing here as he comes way high off of turn number 4. Big time loose. Oh, huge hit. Wow. Man, that hit at an ugly angle, too, for the 90 of Johnny Edward. So we'll go back to the live look here, and this is going to bring all of your race leaders down pit lane. Lap number 19, the first caution flag of the race, about halfway through, maybe a little bit more than halfway through the first, what should be the first green flag run. Some cars electing only 2 tires, possibly some taking no tires. And it will be Blake Gordon winning the race off of pit road. Blake Gordon, followed by Travis McQuistion, Mike Stroll, Brandon Bernhardt, and Will Roberts. That will be your order as they get off of the pit lane. So we'll get ready for the restart here. Should see the lights go out on the iRacing safety car this next time by. Field making their way through turns 1 and 2. We will get to see the choose rule in effect here for this one, Patrick. Homestead, one of those places where you're not necessarily it's not like a Martinsville where everybody wants to be on the inside. You really kind of want to line up based on how your car is feeling and where you think you can gain the most speed.
Yeah, this is definitely a track where you're either an inside line guy or an outside line guy. There is no preferred line here. It is whatever you prefer. So, if there's no choose rule, you're really gonna end up playing games in the pits if you're really good, or if you're not good at doing that, you're just gonna be playing luck of the draw and hoping you can get to where you want.
Tough break for Brian Young. He is just getting loaded in now after an iRacing error prevented him from joining into the session. Tough break for one of the guys that made the Fuel Finals playoff system. So now as the field makes their way off of turn number 2, let's give you the restart order. It'll be McQuistion and Gordon on the front row, inside to outside. Mike Stroll, Brandon Bernhardt on row 2. Will Roberts, row Ackley on row number 3. Field makes their way off of turn number 4. A little bit of a connection issue for Will Roberts. He has reappeared. Green flag goes back in the air. Great restart for Blake Gordon. In fact, Travis McQuistion may have to contend with Brandon Bernhardt here through 1 and 2. Oh, big moment there for Bernhardt in the 81. He's going to lose at least a couple of positions, stacks everybody up behind him. That car got very loose in turns 1 and 2. He's way up against the high side of the racetrack. Thomas Bresci in the middle. The 11 of Justin Morton down on the inside. And that 81 machine going to continue to lose some spots as Vicellio and Dinsmore make contact down the front stretch. Big time issues here for the 81 of Brandon Bernhardt. Chad Mikas in the 25 inside of Chad Mikas inside of Travis McQuistion. He'll get the pass completed. Justin Munsell in the 98 having to look to the inside of McQuistion now. Here comes Justin Morton. Rob Ackley's just got stuck there. Oh, big moment there. Dinsmore, he goes around. Does he save it again?
I believe he did.
Oh, we've got huge contact back in the pack. Big time wreck back of the racetrack. The 33 of John Gervin is involved in that. Don Runkle absolutely plows into him as well. And we will go under.
He scored after that one.
Second time tonight, we will go under the caution flag. The 9 had big contact there. Huge hit into the 33 of John Gervin. He got drilled twice. That will absolutely be a call for a backup car there.
Don Runkle, I'm going to rip on the guy a little bit. It looked like he was like texting and driving or something there. The wreck was going on for about 30 seconds before he slowly plowed into a car with plenty of room to the left. I almost want an onboard of Don Runkle's car just to see the dangers of texting and driving.
Let's take a look here. Go on board here with a 69 of Don Runkle.
To the reckon, he's on the brakes, just chilling. Plenty of room, goes right into the smoke.
You know what? That almost, though, feels like it should be one of those that the car should be out of the way.
Yeah, I know what the mindset there was. I don't want to rip on him too much, but
That car is junked.
yes, it is.
So Joe Dinsmore, Travis McQuistion, Tyler Hensley, Brandon Bernhardt, Brian Keita, Brian McFerrin, Kyle Cooper, Cal Filarski, all on the pit lane, as are John Gervin and Hayden Pastorius. Now, I wonder if some of these cars that we saw have the issues didn't elect for a two-tire strategy at the first pit stop. Maybe try to make up a little bit of track position. The problem with doing that is the car is very unhappy the first couple of laps, up to even a handful of laps, after you take two tires.
I would even argue the car is unhappy the whole run. It just, all four tires get so bad at a point where you don't even notice you put two on.
Yeah, the whole idea is basically in the two-tire change is to make up a little bit at the front of the run and hope that you get a caution later, or like midpoint of the run. That way everybody's going to come down and change tires again, and you use the two-tire stop to pick up some track position. Unfortunately, you have to make it to that middle point of the run without being in the wreck yourself.
Not only that, I am not sure. I have not done a two-tire stop since they implemented, whatever that word is, the tire limits in iRacing. So I don't know if that takes away a full set of tires from you, or if it just takes away the right sides, which even still, I don't know if I'd want to burn just the set of right sides this early in the race. I save all of my two-tire stops for the last stop of the race, kind of a last-ditch effort to get to the front.
Yeah, it's almost like, calling the Hail Mary in football or something, where you're just trying to make it work to the end, and you've only got a handful of laps or so to go. Maybe. Could be worth the effort to try that strategy, but...
Yeah, I mean, if you're sitting back there in 20th position and everyone in front of you drove into the pits, you might as well come down, take two tires. You've got nothing to lose here. Take the two tires. Maybe you'll bump yourself up to the top 10 if you can hang on. You've turned a 20th place night into a 10th place night. That's really the only time I think a two-tire stop is really worth it. Either that or a Hail Mary trying to go for the win. Other than that, it's too risky.
Well, let's take a look here, and taking a look at some of the comments and stuff. It's gotten a little bit quiet here. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in on YouTube and on Twitch. Hopefully you are enjoying the show, and give us all the regular shouts, comments here. Let us know where you're watching from if you are enjoying the show, and if you are, give it the like and share. We can use the help. We appreciate it. Yes, you know what? This may have to become a t-shirt. Coming from Twisted Autosports, whatever that word is. Yes. I believe it is 2 weeks ago he was quoting Sun Tzu and the Art of War.
I was, yes, showing how well educated I am, and now tonight I am showing how far from educated I am. Tennessee, I know how to say that word. That's where Nashville is.
Green flag's back in the air. You guys have me choking on myself over here. Mike Stroll got out to the good jump. Chad Mike is able to hold on to second. Pick up Justin Munsell. He has Justin Morton to his outside. Rob Ackley just behind. Blake Gordon just ahead. And quite frankly, it already seeing a little bit of attrition coming into play here. There's points that get awarded at the halfway point. However, what we're really talking about here is we could see a long green flag run, potentially even half the race, if this thing can settle in.
That's the problem, though. You're asking a bunch of drivers the last race of the season to settle in. And that's just not going to happen. Everyone is fighting for every last bit they can get, trying to bring home a half-decent finish at the end of the night and round out the championship. And obviously, it's not the way to do it. finish good. First, you got to finish. So there's two mindsets there, and all the drivers are stuck in the go fast or go home mindset.
Yeah, it's a good way to get yourself into trouble, quite frankly. As we see Brent Kusick getting around the 13 of Blake Gordon. Alex Vecellio going to battle with Thomas Bressi. Bressi not having to fight for a championship here, but you still have... He's got a top 5 streak. 15 starts, 15 top 5s. He wants to finish this thing out. That would be one of the most incredible seasons that I can think of in iRacing. I mean, we watched Greg Seitz do some amazing things in Indy Pro 2000. What Johnny Avila did in the Sim Racers Club 1 year ago. They still had mistakes. They still had problems. That has not happened this year for Thomas Bressi. He truly has been not only been a winner, but consistently fast all season long.
You know, I would like to see if we can put together a one-off showdown between Johnny Avila and Thomas Bressi.
Ooh. That would be fun.
Just a 3-round bash, 10 laps each. One race with the Xfinity cars as we run in this series. One race in the next-gen cars that we run in Sim Racers Club. And then throw him a curveball. Throw him in Legends cars or Formula Vs or something. And let him have at it.
Yes, I'm thinking Formula V's at like one of the kart tracks or something. The baby layouts that we see with some of the far-end road courses. Oh man, that would be fun. Dude, we should put together our own little iRock series.
Yeah, of all the champions of all the NRN series. And let him have at it and see who is the best.
Oh, buddy, Will Roberts. Nice save off of turn number 2. I'll tell you what, Patrick. I am really starting to think that these cars are becoming a handful quicker than maybe we anticipated. Will Roberts was just very loose off of turn number 2. And it's really not a fun position to be in if you're the driver running to the inside. Because if he spins, he's heading your way. If he corrects it, he's going head on into the outside wall.
Neither would you want. Now, why don't we ask our friends at DeWeather for some of our weather updates, see what this track's looking like right now.
Well, let's see. I think we might be able to do
They're
something.
busy in Beltsville right now.
Clark DeBear is currently in Beltsville, but yeah, we got it. Weather conditions presented by our friends at DeWeather Center. Offensively accurate weather for eastern Pennsylvania. Check out their Facebook page, by the way, if you would like a laugh. 79
Clark
degrees,
has been on it
the
all
ambient
day.
temperature. 48% humidity, winds very calm, track temperature of 87 degrees. That actually shouldn't be a big issue here. With the track temp is not that hot.
I was expecting to be hotter with the way these cars are getting super loose, but when I saw that 87, I was a bit taken back.
You almost wonder if that isn't just something in how the setup is built. This is a fixed setup league. Just the setup is built to be a little bit loose. Almost like you can overcorrect for early understeer by setting the car up to be a little bit loose, and you just have to hang on the later you get in the run.
Yeah, which is a really, really fun car, at least to me, to drive. I know some drivers absolutely hate a loose car, can't drive them. I know a lot of guys who really like tight setups. I drive their setups, and I'm 6 seconds slower because I can't get the thing to turn. But if you get a bunch of drivers that really love a loose setup, it's a blast to watch them race, hanging the ass end of the car out, tank slappers every corner. It's the most fun you can have in a simulator or even real life.
Yeah, I've tried driving some of your setups, and undrivable is the first word that comes to mind. It is certainly not the last.
But they're 4 seconds faster than yours, so what does that say?
That is exactly correct. I just don't have the talent to drive them. Bressi and Vecellio, by the way, continuing a fantastic battle here. These guys running side by side. Vecellio going to hold on to the spot here as lap number 39 of 134 goes up on the scoreboard. A couple other good battles shaping up a little bit further back in the pack. They're not any closer than this one, so we'll stay right here. But Brian McFerrin and Brandon Bernhardt, also Brendan Wengard going to be there, but they're all about a third of a second apart or so. Joe Dinsmore, Tyler Hensley, same deal, about third to a quarter of a second. I love it that the color guy is getting chirpy in the comments as we speak. Justin Munsell going to have to fend off Rob Ackley here down the back straightaway. This is the battle for the third position. And this is sort of what we talked about, Patrick. You could settle into a long run here. And I don't want to say it's anything crazy, but the long run is not something we saw a lot of out of these guys. Even in practice, when the first server was up, that can become challenging if you're not able to get a long run in the actual practice session.
Yeah, and getting a long run, especially for me in practice, is very difficult. You lose focus very easily. There's usually a guy or two screwing around. There's two guys taking it seriously. And you find yourself running by yourself, avoiding the two idiots that are doing donuts on the backstretch and the two guys that are actually really practicing flying past you. And you can't build a rhythm. You end up trying to push the car too hard, and you end up hitting the wall a bunch. So, at least for me, there's not a lot of long run time in practice. That's a skill you kind of develop during the race.
Your race leader, Mike Stroll, we haven't shown him a ton, talked about him a ton, but he's been very good in practice and in qualifications, I guess. Enter high, kind of clip low, and then slide back out to the top side of the racetrack. It's going to bring Thomas Bressi into the equation. Hearing that Bressi just had a very nice save as well. I was about to say this fight has settled down a little bit, but Pacelio trying to get to the outside of the racetrack. Wants to turn down the hill. You got a little bit of that tank slapper there, Patrick, on corner exit. We're seeing a lot more of that the longer this run goes on, especially up here towards the front. Justin Munsell and Justin Morton going to battle. And you can tell the drivers that are having a little bit of that loose issue because they're trying to get up high on the racetrack and just let the car ride through the corner.
Yeah, and this is really where you're going to see the guys who are really good at keeping the car, keeping the tires on the car, saving the tires. This is where they're going to build up an even bigger gap because they're not worried about that right rear falling off because they still got it on the car. With some of these other guys, you end up kind of in a loop where the car gets loose, you burn up more of the right rear, you burn up more of the right rear, the car gets looser, and you burn up more of the right rear.
Yeah, that's the comment from Twisted Auto Sports, that it's, even if you're not intending to, when the place isn't a cheese grater, you can still eat the right rear tire. And if you do that, you're in for a big-time handful. Just the way the physics works in iRacing, when the right rear tire starts to go, it goes from almost like it's a little tight to snap loose to just uncontrollable. And that can happen in just a lap or two.
Yeah, and especially if you have a rhythm built and out of nowhere the car just snaps on you, that'll end your night really quickly. Not only will it take you out of that rhythm, but if you're not expecting it and you're not preparing for it, it'll catch you by surprise, and you'll either overcorrect, end up in that wall, or you'll end up down in the infield somewhere.
Even
Neither of you are what you want.
Even if you catch somebody at the wrong time and you have to change your line a little bit, that can be enough to induce that snap oversteer.
Yeah, the biggest thing that causes that oversteer is just lifting off of the gas too early. A lot of people associate oversteer with stepping on the gas and the back end of the car swinging out, and yeah, that'll cause it. But the even scarier form is when you lift off the gas, the back end gets light, and it starts to come around on you. Because the fix to that is getting back on the gas, but that's not what comes intuitively. Car starts to step out like that, instinctively you hit the brakes a little bit. You hit the brakes, back end gets even lighter, and it starts spinning around on you even faster. So
yeah, I believe the term is trailing throttle oversteer, and it is, like you said, it's counterintuitive to drive the car that way, because it's almost like you have to drive it like a front-wheel drive car, where if it starts to get loose, just give it more throttle, and you're going to pull yourself out of the corner.
yeah, it's very hard to drill in your brain, because when you get on the gas, the back end's going to step out more. But it's kind of controllable, where you can get back on the gas, hang the back end out a little bit more, and then roll off the gas slowly and straighten the car back out, where when you're real jumpy on the pedals, you're just upsetting it even more, and that's when disaster strikes.
That's something we've talked about a lot this season with regards to Thomas Bressie, Mike Stroll. There's a handful of guys, quite frankly. It's the being smooth part. If your adjustments, you kind of almost have to drive the car, so if you do have to correct, it's a very minor correction. If you get into big swings, whether it's on the pedals or on the wheel, that's when you're really in for a not good time.
Yeah, smoothness is key. Smooth is fast.
I thought it was loose is fast, and on the edge of out of control.
That is true, but to keep it there on the edge, you got to be smooth. I know you hate drifting and it being considered important and all that. However, if you can watch some of the in-cars or some of the telemetry from those guys, even though it looks like they are throwing those cars around and being all ragged on everything, those are some of the smoothest drivers in the world. Just everything they do is all precise, and it's really an art form of driving.
Yes, I don't, it's, I'll say it this way. It's not racing, but it is most certainly motorsport. Watching the drift cars, especially I don't know if you caught any of the Goodwood Festival of Speed this weekend. They had a handful of drift cars absolutely ripping up the hill. It was so much fun to watch. Just because of the car control that's involved there. It's not as simple as just flick the back end out and start turning some donuts. It truly is managing. You're managing a vehicle that is driving a way that it doesn't want to drive.
Yeah, as we see a pass getting made on the front stretch. Blow that up a little bit. Looks like Thomas Bressie is falling back a little bit.
Just a little bit here. The car was loose in turns 3 and 4. Joe Dinsmore able to get close. Basically, Bressie almost ran over Alex Vecellio. You wonder if the earlier contact with Dinsmore didn't kind of get him spooked just a little bit. But definitely some of what you're seeing right now is Vecellio and Dinsmore are going to battle. You're in hold on for dear life territory at this point. Pretty long runs for these drivers. Longest run, easily the longest run we've had thus far. Most of the field stopping at lap number 18, a handful stopping at lap number 25. You're actually getting close to where the window's going to open up for these drivers to make their second pit stop.
Yeah, and some of these cars, if they're nearing undrivable territory, you're going to see these guys dive down, not so much for the undercut, but just to get some control under the car to try and make it to the end of the race.
Yeah, get these things off this race car now, is the thought process that's going on as they're 3 wide off of turn number 2. Tyler Hensley down to the inside. I haven't talked a lot about him all night. Running right about where he started, battling with Joe Dinsmore and Alex Vecellio on the top side of the racetrack. The difference is Vecellio currently in line for your Primate Pest Elimination Hard Charger Award. He is up 14 spots to run in 9th. That's actually pretty impressive to be able to manage the tires and pass a lot of cars all at the same time. Oh, Hensley a little bit loose off the corner. Dinsmore is going to get a good run down the straightaway. Little tiny bit of drafting help from the 7 of Brian McFerrin. Oh man, Thomas Bresci with another big save. Handful of cars already out of the race, including Don Runkle in 22nd, Kyle Cooper in 23rd, Brian Young back on the racetrack, but 18 laps down to the 24th position. John Gervin 25th, Hayden Pistorius 26th, Johnny Edward 27th. Will be these cars running out of the race. So Dinsmore able to clear at this point. Now it's going to be McFerrin and Hensley battling. And this is the best battle on the racetrack right now. Hensley inside of McFerrin into turn number 1. The gap 3.6 seconds at the front of the field for Mike Stroll over Chad Mikus. Mikus.
Oh, little wiggle right there.
Man, this fight has been pretty good, but we got to... Oh, here we go. Thomas Bresci coming down pit lane.
Locking up the tires a little bit coming in.
First of our cars to make their second pit stop of the night will be Thomas Bresci and Will Roberts, both on the pit lane now here at lap number 61. "43 laps, the amount of the stint. Should set him up to be able to make it to the end on one more stop. Bresci going to be down and away. 14.67 seconds, 14.68 the lap time for Will Roberts as Matt Owens. Oh, buddy, he was way hot on the pit lane. That may be a pit road speeding penalty for Matt Owens. We'll see how long he's going to have to sit on pit road. Or if he got it down to the pit road speed limit. Owens' crew drops the jack, and he's down and away. Nice stop for Matt Owens. Fantastic pit entry. 15.42 seconds. The lap time, or excuse me, the pit stop time for Matt Owens. 4 Goodyear Racing Eagles, 2 cans, Sunoco fuel going into that machine. Back out on the racetrack, Joe Dinsmore, Tyler Hensley going to continue to run side by side. Now, for the cars that went out, that came into the pits early here, as we'll pick up Cal Filarski. Let's see. Let's bring up the ticker here as well. Give you a little bit cleaner look at things. Cal Filarski going to hit his box. Crew goes to work. You are going to lose a lap, so there's at least the potential for some issues there, but not necessarily the worst call to try the undercut.
No, not at all, especially a track like this where the strategy kind of plays out like a road course race. Where you'll get a long green flag run, you'll have your cars that pit early, and the advantage of that is you're running faster while the other guys are running slower. Or if you can push your tires out a lot longer and maybe try and cut a pit stop out of it. it's really two sides of the coin, and at the end of the day, one of the strategies is going to come out on top, unless we get a crazy caution out of nowhere that throws all that out the window.
That is correct. Let's take a look here. Justin Munsell and Tyler Hensley making their way down the pit lane. Second service of the night. Actually, this will be the third stop for Tyler Hensley. Daco Parka also coming down pit lane. You wonder almost here, Patrick, as a 5 of Hensley overshoots the box just a little bit. You almost wonder if the race leaders aren't thinking, can I possibly get it down to like a 50-lap stint to close the race out, and then you try to stretch it on fuel, maybe get some caution flag help. Is there an advantage to going 2 stops versus 1 stop?
I would think so. Especially at a track like this where we're seeing a lot of tire wear real early in the runs. I would say take as many pit stops as you can and stay on the lead lap. Because if you have the tires in the box, you might as well use them, and you might as well try and stay as fast as possible for as long as possible. At least that's my thinking behind it. As long as you get on the lead lap and keep yourself in position for the win at the end, I think that's the strategy.
Justin Morton, Rob Ackley, and Brandon Wengard all coming down the pit lane now. Thus far, the cars that stopped at lap number 18, only Mike Stroll, Chad Mikus, and Brent Kusick staying out. But here comes your race leader, Mike Stroll, down the pit lane. Race leader coming in for his stop at lap number 67. That will turn the lead of the race over to Travis McQuistion. Chad Mikus also coming down pit lane. The lead was about 3.5 seconds for Mike Stroll as he came down into the pit lane. He will be quickly down and away. Travis McQuistion now coming down the pit lane. Stroll's pit stop time 15.07 seconds. Brian McFerrin and Joe Dinsmore staying out on the racetrack right now as we work lap number 70. Brent Kusick also on the pit lane. Thomas Bressie, it appears, is out ahead of Mike Stroll. The difference of 8 laps on the pit stop has Bressie back towards the front. However, Bressie is going to have significantly older tires when Stroll does catch him, and he is catching him in a hurry right now. Brian McFerrin coming down pit lane, one of your race leaders now. Joe Dinsmore going to pick up at the line and lead a lap. Still down to 3 cars that have not made stops. Joe Dinsmore, Brandon Bernhardt, and Brian Keita. These guys are hopefully wanting to see a caution flag. They're hoping for a caution flag. As McFerrin is down and away, 14.82 seconds. Here is your effective race leader, Thomas Bressie, as Joe Dinsmore hits pit lane. But you can see Mike Stroll starting to catch up in a hurry as they make their way down the back straightaway. And quite frankly, we could see Bressie's tires already hitting that cliff. It was not much time before these drivers really had a handful.
Yeah, he's got to be pushing really hard right now. Just trying to get every 10th he can before those tires hit that cliff. Because once they do, just about exactly that's going to happen. Where he's going to get loose coming off the corner and he's going to get passed down the straightaway.
Sending you updated links over here. Just a second here, Patrick, by the way.
10-4.
And already Mike Stroll absolutely flying past Thomas Bressi. So Bressi going to fall back to the second position, and Mike Stroll already with an 0.8 of a second lead as they come across the start-finish line. That's the difference in 8-lap tires for you. Last lap for Mike Stroll, 33.93. 34.49 the lap time for Thomas Bressi. 8 laps, giving up a half second on the tires. Justin Munsell going to work on Thomas Bressi now. Oh man, he is right there on corner exit. Swings down to the inside of the racetrack off of turn number 4. It'll be Bressi at the line, but look for Munsell to complete the pass here into turn number 1. Yeah, it is not much of a fight either. Thomas Bressi going to fall back to the 3rd position. However, it's 1.2 seconds back to Justin Morton in 4th. Ooh, big moment back in the pack a little bit here. Believe that was the 86 of Brian Young, almost making contact with a 5 of Tyler Hensley. Hensley going to be battling with Travis McQuistion. This is a fight for the 6th position. Another good battle shaping up here. Brian McFerrin absolutely screaming around Blake Gordon. Joe Dinsmore there as well. This is 12th, 13th, and 14th on the racetrack. As we are just past, a little bit past the halfway point in this one. Kind of what we expected to happen here, Patrick. You get a long run after you've had a fair bit of attrition to start the race.
Yeah, I mean, once you get the cars that have wrecked out of it. Now, I know I'm seeing some names in here that aren't known for wrecking every week, but it just so happens some people just might not be very good at this racetrack. Those guys, they wreck fairly early in the race, and you have a fairly clean race to the end. Until somebody screws it up and brings out a caution, bunches all these guys together, and they see that checkered flag not that far away and start wrecking into each other every single lap. And that's a story we've seen for decades now in stock car racing, and I don't think it's going to be one that's going to go away.
Chad Mike is going to work here on Thomas Bressi. This is now the fight for the 4th position. Mike is stopping at lap 68. Bressi stopping at lap 60. So we've seen where the fall off happens. However, now we're getting to the point where the cars that stopped at lap 68, they're now getting into pretty heavy tire degradation as well. It's almost like the cliff happens, but then it continues to fall off heavily.
Yeah, once you hit that cliff, you're stuck pushing that car harder than it wants to keep the same lap times up, which just overheats the tires more and more, which just keeps throwing them off that cliff. That cliff is bottomless. It'll keep going down until that rubber shreds off of that wheel.
Yeah, we don't. iRacing does not show a blown tire per se, where the car has, you go into turn 1, the right front blows, and the car just goes straight and pounds the wall. However, you will get a meatball flag. The black flag, which the orange circle in the middle, is called the meatball. That's iRacing's way of saying, this tire is done. You have just a couple of laps to get on pit road and get it changed.
Yes, and if you do happen to run that tire down to 0, it won't show an animation for it, but that corner of the car will drop down a little bit. It will be a blown tire, and you will go right into the wall. And if you manage to keep the car going around, it'll be about 15 seconds a lap slower at Bristol. Bristol's the only track that I've blown a tire at, and 15 seconds a lap slower with the other cars turning 14-second laps, and you're over here turning 30-second laps. It is not fun. PSA, people, go and get your tires changed.
Justin Morton down inside of Justin Munsell. Do the Lincoln test, and if you don't know how to do it the right way, visit your local mechanic. They will tell you if you need tires. I am really interested to see now where this is all going to shake out from here. The next round of stops, in fact, what should be the final stops of the night for guys like Thomas Bressi, theoretically could be happening as soon as lap 100, only about 17, 18 laps from now. I would imagine it kind of gives you a little bit of pucker factor to be going, man, I'm going to have to go how many laps on this last set of tires?
Yeah, I'd want to make that last run as short as possible. Kind of just keep yourself in the running now and just leave yourself enough at the end to be able to push and get the win.
Thomas Bressi has fallen back to the 7th position, so the top 5 streak is in jeopardy. You almost wonder if it wasn't a strategic call to kind of force everybody else's hand to come down pit lane. When he comes down at lap 60, everybody else is saying, I've got to get down pit road. What happened instead was everybody just stayed out and continued to run their own strategy. And it's got Thomas Bressi in a bit of a bind here. He's going to have Rob Ackley only about a 10th and a half back for the 7th position. Will Roberts is gaining in pretty quickly as well. However, Roberts also stopped at lap number 60. So it feels like we've sort of sorted back through to where everybody was running before the last cycle of pit stops.
Yeah, you're really going to need to throw a curveball if you want to make some ground up, and you got to hope that curveball hits and you don't foul out.
Pick up the battle back up here with Bressi and Ackley as they are going to be side by side down the backstretch. Ackley running the high lane into turn number 3. Quite frankly, probably the line that Thomas Bressi wants. Yeah, you can see that car just noticeably slower through the 3 and 4 end of the racetrack. Brian Young having the peak to the inside now. Got some good stuff coming up this weekend on the National Racing Network. Friday night, real-world racing action from Snydersville Raceway in Stroudsburg? Broadheadsville? We'll call it the Poconos.
Like right on the corner of Stroudsburg, Snydersville, Broadheadsville. It's like right in the middle of all those. Nobody really knows where it is. It's just there.
It's off the side of Route 33 in northeast Pennsylvania. I think it's 97 classes of go-karts that we'll be broadcasting. It's not actually 97, but it's a bunch.
There will be, I think we're almost to 100 flathead champs have entered.
That's fantastic. The John LaRue Memorial Race is the reason we will be up there.
It's the biggest prize in go-kart racing I think I have ever seen. It's $3,000 to win.
Easily the biggest prize in the Northeast. They do have some 10,000 to win shows in the Southeast where they really go nuts. But yeah, one of the biggest prizes in the Northeast.
We have guys coming as far south as Maryland, as far west as Indiana. Guys from all over the Northeast coming down to the racetrack. It's going to be a fantastic show. I don't know where I'm going to park because last time we had a big show, I had to give my parking spot up to Joey Gase. He ran out of my pit spot last year, and this year I'll give it to someone famous if they show up.
Yes, NASCAR Cup Series driver Joey Gase is who was parked out of your spot.
Yes, sir.
Picking up Justin Munsell, Travis McQuistion. These cars separated by a quarter of a second. Tightest battle on the racetrack right now, as McQuistion has the peak to the inside off of 2. 98, though, able to keep that car wound up a little bit. Continuing this side-by-side duel into turn 3. Looks like McQuistion will easily be able to clear this time. And here comes Justin Munsell. He is coming down pit lane. Lap 91 of 134. This is going to be tight to make it to the end on tires here. Will Roberts, Alex Vecellio going to war. These two drivers battling for the final spot inside the top 10. Vecellio down on the inside of the racetrack. Roberts up on the outside. And a 6-lap difference in tire wear for these cars. Blake Gordon, by the way, also on the pit lane as well. 14.75 seconds the time of the stop for Justin Munsell. I mean, I don't think, though, they're going to try to make it or have to make another stop. If you get a caution,
want to.
I was going to say, ooh, buddy. Will Roberts, what a save off of turn 2. Does it again. And Roberts is going to have to contend with Brent Kusick in the 65. That 2 machine qualified on the outside of the front row for tonight's race. Down 9 from where he started. One guy that is not having a problem whatsoever is Mike Stroll. 4.5 seconds now the lead over Justin Morton. Chad Mikus another 1.25 seconds back or so in the 3rd position. Matt Owens on the pit lane now as the field works lap number 94. Let's take a look here. Thomas Bressie being chased down by Joe Dinsmore for the 7th position. This is now the closest fight on the speedway. And Bressie has got to be screaming for tires at this point. Last time Bressie ran a 34-lap stint. This time upwards of 35 laps. He slides up the racetrack. Dinsmore going to have the drive off the corner. Not quite able to get him at the line. Dinsmore full sail into turn number 1. He will clear Thomas Bressie. Drop the 24 back to the 8th position. Would expect to see Thomas Bressie down pit lane just about at any time.
Yeah, Thomas Bressie, he is in the middle of 3 and 4 right now, as the leader is entering 1. I don't want to call that half a track just yet, but he is pretty darn close to being half a lap from going lap down. If he's going to make the pit stop, he's got to do it real close to now.
Yeah, it's almost like you don't want to be caught out and put yourself in this position where you're going to lose a ton. Man, big wiggle by Bressie off of 2. He has got a handful. Let's go on board the Gyrocam here with Thomas Bressie.
And even still, with that car sliding around like it is, he's not moving the wheel very much.
No, you
exit the corner, let the wheel drift up a little bit, and just kind of catches it and brings it back down the center.
There's the big catch off the corner, by the way. As Bressie will lose that spot to Brian McFerrin. Battle shaping up now for the third position as Chad Mikas will have to contend with Travis McQuistion here as we get very late into the run. Should see only about another 5, maybe 10 laps, absolute maximum. This, I would think, though, Patrick, is where maybe if you're kind of in that position that Thomas Bressy's in, once you get to lap 100, then you're going, okay, it's only 34, 35 laps. I can make the tires last that. The problem is that they're trying to run 40-plus lap stints, and that's really where the performance falls off in that last 10 or so.
Yeah, with only 34 laps to go, I would say if you have the extra tires in the box, you gotta jump in and get them on the car now. If you want, wait till lap 104, make yourself feel good, round it off to a perfect 30 laps, but yeah, you gotta make the stop. As Michael Stroll and Chad Mikas coming in, they're gonna try and get the undercut. I wonder if we see Thomas Bressy dive in this lap too.
Well, here's the interesting thing is I don't know how much of an undercut it is with Mike Stroll being the race leader as they came down pit lane.
It's a defensive undercut.
Maybe a little bit. It was still about a 4.5 second lead for Stroll when he came down pit lane. He will be down and away 14.93 seconds. Justin Morton, Travis McQuistion making their way down the pit lane. Oh, and the one going around. That was Brandon Wengert having an issue getting onto the pit lane. Following along with a pit stop here for Justin Morton. Alex Viccellio getting into his box. Travis McQuistion in for his service as well. Justin Morton down and away, 15.07 seconds. 15:10, the time of the stop for Travis McQuistion. Alex Viccellio should be rolling here in just a second or so, 14.93 seconds. The time of the stop there is Joe Dinsmore now going to make his way down pit road. Everybody else that's staying out at this point is hoping for a caution. They want to be able to stop and force the rest of your leaders to come in under the caution flag. They want to come in under the caution as the leaders and then try to trap everybody a lap down, let them use the wave around and all. But there is your effective leader of the race, Mike Stroll, making his way through turns 1 and 2. Rob Ackley coming down the pit lane this time by. Tyler Hensley, Brian McFerrin, Thomas Bressy staying out on the racetrack. Bressy went from the short pit, the undercut that obviously didn't work, to the big-time overcut. You almost wonder, is that the better strategy at this point, just because you're going to spend fewer laps on the tires?
That might be the strategy, especially if the caution were to come out right after you exit the pits taking your tires, because then you can stay out and you have fresh tires. You're going to get ahead of everyone, and it's a gamble, but that'll basically hand you the win.
So long as iRacing scoring doesn't bungle it up anyway. We saw that potentially cost West Shire a championship in the TNT Shock Series. And something that you really have to keep in the back of your mind. This is not a real-world timing and scoring system with, actual scorers in the booth. Even if they're just monitoring the electronics and they have the ability to correct an issue, that's not something that happens here in iRacing. You kind of are dealt the hand you're dealt with scoring, and you really don't want to put yourself in that position to be caught out.
We see the 24 Bressy finally coming into the pits. Did he wait long enough to be able to try to push for that run towards the back end of this?
Man, this is going to be a fun one to watch. Tyler Hensley also down pit road as well as Bressy is down and away, 14.77 seconds. Hensley and Will Roberts also on the pit lane. So two of the longest running cars are cars that elected to stop, make the shortest run out of the middle stint. It will promote Michael Stroll back to the race lead. And how about Justin Munsell? Came in at lap number 90 and only about a half second back of Mike Stroll. The problem is it's 10 laps on the tires. And Stroll already starting to open that gap back up. Now Brandon Bernhardt in the 81. Not able to hold off Travis McQuistion. And man, here's the answer, I think, to our question. Brian McFerrin now battling with Thomas Bressi. Bressi went from running about 8th to running 12th after the cycle of pit stops. Now he's going to have fresher tires, but a lot of ground to try to make up here. These drivers are going to need a caution flag if they're going to want any shot at a win here late in this race.
Yeah, it's a good thing Thomas Bressi locked down the championship early, because out of all the tracks we've had on the schedule, it seems like this is the one that doesn't agree with him the most.
I would even say almost a bit of an uncharacteristic strategy blunder in electing to come down at lap 60. Now, if you don't feel like you have the raw pace to get a win, maybe you have to try something a little bit goofy. Your first cycle of green flag pit stops, maybe somebody wrecks trying to get on and off the pit lane. Maybe not the worst call, but if everybody executes properly, you're really in a world of trouble.
Yeah, just about every strategy call is a gamble. Some of them are high risk, high reward. Some are low risk, low reward. And that was a high risk, high reward strategy, and unfortunately pulled the handle on the slot machine and came out losing.
Down to 24 laps to go in the Fuel Premier Series season. And Mike Stroll, your race leader, already catching up on the 92 of Chris Matthews and the 2 of Will Roberts to put these cars a lap down. Matthews in 15th place going lap down. There you see the 2 just disappearing off in the corner of your screen. So there's Mike Stroll, your race leader. 3.4 seconds back is Justin Munsell. Munsell having a very nice run here, up in the second position, and quite frankly, a run that he needed to have at this point in the season. Let's get our point standings pulled back up here. Justin Munsell sitting only 4 points back of Justin Morton for the third position in points. However, it was only an 11-point gap from Morton to second place in points, but right now, that second place car in points is Mike Stroll, your race leader. Running in the fourth position is Chad Mikas. Nice run for Chad. Qualified that car in the third position, now running in fourth. Gained 1 position in the points after last week's race. Serves to potentially grab a couple of more here this week. Mike is entering the race 6 points back of Blake Gordon and 12 back of Rob Ackley. Third place may be good enough to get Chad Mikas into the top 5 in point standings here this season. Running in the fifth position is Travis McQuistion. Travis up 2 after qualifying in the 7th position. Overall, a solid night for your Daytona race winner to start the season, but going to need a little bit of help if he wants to win the season finale as well. Now we have this battle between Joe Dinsmore and Rob Ackley, the 95 and the 22. Dak Oparka in the 10 and the 81 of Brandon Bernhardt are not involved in this battle for position. Oparka currently running the 17th position, Wengard running 19th. Take a look, Chad Mikus, he is going to have to contend with Justin Munsell. Munsell was able to make up a little bit of a ground there, but I think we're going to see Mikus pull away here fairly quickly with 10-lap fresher tires. Take a look here, slide back, pick up Justin Munsell and Travis McQuistion. This is the fight for the 4th position. Munsell up on the outside of the racetrack, going to be able to hold off at least temporarily the 93, but man alive, those not lap 90 pit stop tires are really starting to go away on the 98. The gap was 8 seconds entering turn 1. It's down to 7 3/4 seconds already now for Munsell. Back to Joe Dinsmore. Dinsmore in a fight of his own here, still with Rob Ackley. Brian McFerrin catching up to Thomas Bresci as well, but we'll stay here with this fight for the 6th position. I have to say, Patrick, I am a little bit surprised in how these cars ran tonight. Man, big save there for Ackley off of turn 2. I would have figured we would have seen maybe not a true pack race, but at least things a little bit tighter, especially at the front of the field. The reality is this has been a tire management game since the drop of the green flag, and those can become a runaway pretty quickly.
Yeah, you have your guys all the way at the front. Like we have Michael Stroll and Justin Morton. Those are your tire-saving kings. And usually we have Thomas Bresci up there, but it just seems like he hasn't been able to get a handle on this track this week. And then you have some of your other guys who just drive the car. They're good at setting fast lap times, but once you get some of the crazier stuff like saving tires and still going fast, just can't do it. And it's not anything to say against their skill. It's just a skill they haven't developed yet. So yeah, they turn into a runaway pretty quickly because tire fall off is an endless pit that just gets worse and worse, exponentially.
Yeah, it's hard, especially once they go away. It's almost like if you think about it from the percentages that the drivers will check when they come down pit road. From 100% to 80%, maybe not all that bad, but from 80 to 70 is a pretty big jump. 70 to 60 is a big jump. 60 to 50, the car is almost uncontrollable. And then by the time you get down to 40% and lower, you really have a handful. But it's not like a bell curve. Like you have the top of the bell curve and it's this gradual fall off. It really is almost like you have steps of grip. And, okay, step 1, I'm still good. Step 2, I got to watch. 3, 4, 5, 6 come very kind of rapid fire, it feels like.
Yeah, because the more the tires wear, the more you're pushing them, the more you're sliding them. The more you slide them, the more you heat them up. The more you heat them up, the more you wear them. And the more you wear them, it just starts right back from the top, but the more you're sliding them. It is an endless spiral. It's like the Fibonacci sequence. There, I used a smart word for you.
He can't pronounce Nashville, Tennessee properly, but he's got Fibonacci nailed. Joe Dinsmore and Rob Ackley now have Tyler Hensley to contend with. He's caught up to these two. And getting down to right about 10 laps to go here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. It'll be a couple of outstretched palms the next time your race leader, Mike Stroll, gets to the front stretch. This battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th sort of settling in just a little bit. Here's Brian McFerrin working on Thomas Bresci, and again, kind of the same deal. You can get there, but you can't necessarily get past him, at least not crazy easily. Go back to this battle here as we are down to 10 laps to go. Joe Dinsmore, Rob Ackley, Tyler Hensley all running nose to tail. Twisted Autosports saying, good job, Patrick. Oh, the condescending tone from the viewers is awesome.
Oh, man. I'll get you back during the sim race and stub race. Don't worry.
Chad Mikas, Travis McQuistion. This is the battle for the final podium position of the season. Right now, it is a 4.7 second gap from Mike Stroll to Justin Morton. Morton sitting about 2.5 seconds ahead of this battle. They are closing, but it's in the hundredths of a second a lap, which is not going to get them there with only 7 laps to go now. And an absolutely dominant drive to this point by Mike Stroll tonight. Have to give him the props. He was fantastic 1 week ago. Doing it again here tonight. Ultimately, some bad luck catching out Mike Stroll at Gateway. A little bit of a bobble there even, but let's take a look here. Let's go on board with Mike Stroll for a lap. Very, very smooth is what I'm hearing and seeing. Mike Stroll down to 5 laps to go. The 5-finger salute at the start-finish line. Chad Mikas, Travis McQuistion. McQuistion able to come past Chad Mikas. He picks up the 3rd position. And not much Mikas can do to fend off the run either. A little bit further back here, Tyler Hensley, Joe Dinsmore side by side. And that one will easily be Hensley's spot as they work off of turn number 4. Still not done with the battling. Alex Viccellio, Will Roberts side by side. Still some pretty decent action here on the racetrack right now, even if it's not a fight for the race lead. Just 2.5 more circuits to go. In fact, less than that even. It will be a pair of popsicle sticks at the start-finish line this time by for Mike Stroll. 2 laps to go in the 2022 A Fuel Premier Series season. We'll go ahead and make the announcement right now. We will be back for 2022 Season B with a Fuel Premier Series kicking off in the middle of August. Going to take about a 6-week break. An absolutely epic schedule that these guys have lined up for next season. We will get all the details out for you on that one here, quite frankly, as soon as we get the graphic put together. But we are absolutely thrilled to be coming back here for another season of Fuel Premier Series racing. And white flag is out for Mike Stroll. This guy has been unreal tonight. On a night that everybody was slip-sliding around, not a wheel put wrong to this point. Through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Checkered flag will go in the air. Mike Stroll gets the win at Homestead.
I was going to say, don't jinx him just yet. He doesn't have that checkered flag.
Great drag race off at turn number 4. Oh, Hensley, save it, buddy. Nice save, Tyler Hensley. Justin Munsell going to come home in the 5th position after a nice battle there at the end of this one. Justin Morton, Travis McQuistion, Chad Mikas, and Justin Munsell round out your top 5. Your champ just coming across the line, Thomas Bressi, picking up a Fuel Premier Series championship here tonight. We talked to him a little bit in the pre-race. Hey, we'll try to talk to him again here, but Mike Stroll absolutely burned these tires to the ground, please. You have earned this one in a big way. As he lights them up, let's show you tonight's race results. Stroll, your winner by 5.4 seconds over Justin Morton. Travis McQuistion, Chad Mikas, Justin Munsell round out your top 5. 6 through 10, Tyler Hensley, Joe Dinsmore, Rob Ackley, Brian McFerrin, and Thomas Bressi. Brent Kusa coming home 11th, 12th to Will Roberts, 13th Alex Ficellio, 14th Brandon Bernhardt, and in the 15th position, Cal Filarski. Daco Park are going to be 16th, Matt Owens 17th, 18th to Brandon Wenger, 19th tonight to Chris Matthews, 20th, 3 laps down is Blake Gordon. Brian Keita 21st, Brian Young 22nd, John Gervin 23rd, 24th to Kyle Cooper, 25th Don Runkle, Hayden Pistorius, and Johnny Edward will round out your field here this evening. Let's also pick up Thomas Bressi here as he's doing some donuts on the front stretch as your 2022 A Fuel Series champ. Grabs the reverse gear. Let's see. Nice job there, Mr. Bressi. We'll take that. With that, time for us to get our Victory Lane interviews ready to roll here. And let's take a look here and see who we can bring into the booth first. And just got to find Travis McQuistion here, and we'll be ready to go for our final Victory Lane show of the season. Let's start with our race winner tonight here, Mr. Michael Stroll. Man, I'll tell you what, bud, after what amounts to heartbreak a week ago, absolutely nailed it here tonight. Congratulations. That was a hell of a performance.
you. I think I should get a double interview since you missed California. But
Yeah, well, yes, that's true. The one week that we have problems is the week you pick up the win at Auto Club. 2 wins on the season, 2 wins in the playoffs, locking down second in points. Man, that's a heck of a way to end the season.
yeah, I'm pretty proud. This is my fourth full season running fuel, and I haven't finished worse than third. So 3 seconds in the third ain't bad. I wish I was a little more reserved last week. I might have had a shot at the championship, in this race with how this one turned out. But this track and Auto Club really, I feel like owed me one. I run second here and over there a lot, and I'm just glad I could just come in here and put a clinic on, win the finale 2 seasons in a row, and really gear up for some momentum for the start in August after I take my break here. So pretty pumped.
Well, yeah, that's kind of brings me to my next question. What do you do with the downtime? Are you the kind of driver that wants to just kind of step away and disconnect, or do you start practice right away? What's kind of the thought process on that?
Usually, I would run the summer series and just kind of stay fresh and stuff like that. But I've been doing Premier Series hard and fuel hard every week for over 2 years now, and I got some personal matters I need to focus on with myself and my household. So I'm going to take a much needed break and until we run the Hollywood 500 in August, and then which is August 5th, if anybody wants to sign up for that. And then Premiere starts up again August 22nd. So I turn 35 on Thursday. I go to Cancun next week, and I'm just gonna get off the rig for a while.
You know what? Happy birthday! Enjoy the trip, and I don't know. That's always kind of been my thought. If I was league driving, I don't want to run the car. I don't. Even if you want to run some other stuff, maybe, but just nice to step away and not have that thought in your head. So congratulations on really a fantastic season, coming home second in points, picking up the win here tonight at Homestead. And before we let you go, get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody. Since I swapped up my longtime sponsor Yingling, I've picked up 3 wins since then, which is nice. So maybe I've got the monkey off my back. Maybe there's something with that. But I want to thank all my friends and family. I want to thank everyone at Fuel for having put on a great season. Congratulations to Thomas on the championship. I want to thank everybody at DIR. We all work well together and we all make each other better. Solid run tonight. Solid season. Just proud of everything we've done, and congrats to you guys. I hope we gave you guys the entertainment and that you guys were looking for. I know you guys cover a lot of stuff, but Fuel's a little bit different. Fuel's always been a little bit different than other leagues, so I hope you guys see what I'm talking about. Hope you guys come back and cover us next year. You guys are really cool and put on a great product and are really engaging, and are always down to try new and innovative things, and you work really well with the admin team, so we really appreciate that.
Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate the kind words from you, and yeah, we'll be back. We are looking forward to this one coming up here in just a couple of weeks, and now it's time to bring in our runner-up finisher tonight here, Mr. Justin Morgan. And man, Justin, we're getting you queued up here on the screen, and how in the world did you pick up 13 spots? Also, not only our runner-up finisher, but also our Primate Pest Elimination hard charger of the race. It seemed like passing was at a premium, tire management was at a premium, and you're able to just do really some fantastic stuff to come home second.
Yeah, I think some of it's just being comfortable with the track. I really like running here. It's probably one of my favorite mile and a halves, and just kind of knowing the quirks of how to drive the car at a place seems to really help. Just trying not to kill the car while making the passes is important. I kind of didn't do that great on the first run and kind of lost it near at the end, but that's just management and just thinking things through. It seemed like I was about the only one who was able to really do anything on the top side and get a run down the backstretch. That seemed to be a big part of picking up the passes.
How big was strategy in terms of working out when you wanted to stop, how you were going to make your pit stops in relation to other cars that were on the racetrack? It seemed like that was a pretty big key to your success tonight as well.
Yeah, it seemed like the undercut was pretty strong and the fall off wasn't that bad if the person behind you or whatever, whoever was behind you, and they had like 1 or 2 lap extra tires or extra laps compared to you for tires, and I was able to manage that gap to Chad and Travis. He had pretty good long run pace there. He was slowly gaining on me. If that race went any longer, might have lost the spot to Travis, but Stroll had great pace all race, so great win to him.
Yeah, fantastic drive for you tonight here, bud. Congratulations on really a pretty darn good season as well here. Looks like you will come home third in the point standings. Congratulations on that, and before we let you go here, make sure you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah, I'd like to thank my team, Totally On Force Racing. I know Hayden was pretty sick going into this race, and he tried to hold out as long as he could, so pretty proud of him there. Just couldn't take it anymore at the midpoint of the race. JT Motorsports for working with us this entire season. It's been great just hang out with them in Discord and just talk during the races. Pixel Dust for the awesome paint, Black Box for sponsoring us, and everybody who sponsored the leagues this season. We really appreciate it, and thank you guys for doing the broadcasting. You've done a great job this season.
Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate those kind words, and let's bring in our third place finisher here tonight, Mr. Travis McQuistion. And Travis, we talked to you at the season opener at Daytona in Victory Lane. Getting to talk to you again to end the season at the Homestead-Miami Speedway with a third place finish. Congratulations on that, and got to be a pretty big momentum boost here to know that you're on pace with these guys now consistently week in and week out.
Yeah, it definitely has been pretty nice. Last week, I think we had a winning car there, and just things didn't work out. And this week, we kind of got off strategy, which helped because everybody pitted and took tires, and we didn't there at the first pit stop, and then it just was able to cycle through to get us up towards the front. But yeah, I mean, we felt fast, and it was good. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I mean, we're kind of out to lunch at some of the tracks, so this was a nice feeling.
Talk us through the night here. You moved up 4 positions. You had the first, like you mentioned, the first round of stops. Or I guess it would be the second set, whatever it was. You made the strategy call to get out towards the front of the field. The clean air was important, and just track position in general was pretty important on a night that was a little bit difficult to pass.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that a lot of places, but this one, I think, especially with the progressive banking, the outside lane has an option, a very good option of keeping you down there and running. And basically all I did is I'd give it up in the first part of the run and be like, okay, go ahead, stretch it out, get, 2-second lead on me. I know I can bring you back in because I'll save a little bit. And I mean, running the bottom of the car was hooked. If I could get it on the white line, like we were good. And yeah, it was fun. And I just wish Michael wasn't as fast as he was, or there was no chance of us getting there. But if there was another 10 laps, I think we could have battled for second. I don't know if we would have gotten it, but we would have at least closed in and see what we could have done.
Well, congratulations on a very nice podium finish to round out the season here. And before we let you go, get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah, thanks to all my teammates that gave me company throughout the year, and that helps us all get better. Thanks, to Will for putting this on for us. It's always nice to be able to come here and show off a little bit. And I want to appreciate and thank and appreciate what you guys have done for the league of broadcasting and making it a very professional situation for us all.
All right, bud. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate the kind words from you. And let's bring in our champ. We talked to him in the pre-race. We weren't sure if we were going to get to talk to him here, but since we jinxed him, I will gladly take credit for this one. Thomas Bressi barely squeaking into the top 10. 16 starts, 16 top 10 finishes. 15 of those were top 5s. 3 wins, I guess. I'm sorry, let me correct myself here. 8 wins in 16 starts. Absolutely incredible season here, Thomas. Congratulations.
Yeah, appreciate it. Wish we had a little more to work with tonight, but had the nose taken off the car twice in the first 30 laps and was down on power the rest of the night. So we were just kind of rolling around, having fun and getting pissed off. So it was good. I guess I shouldn't be too mad, though, because, considering how the rest of the season went. So, yeah, just wish we could have maybe finished out the top 5 streak or the top 2 streak and continued that So that's going to sit at 13, I think, for top twos in a row. So I would have liked to shot at, maybe winning the race tonight, try to tie the record for wins in a season, but wasn't meant to be. Congrats to Stroll. He drove a really good race, and from the looks of it, had everyone pretty well covered tonight anyways. So, yeah, but wish there was a slightly better way to cap off the year, but definitely, we kind of pushed this one aside. The rest of it was pretty good.
Now tonight, you were struggling a little bit with tire wear there, and you pit a little bit earlier than everyone else on lap 60. What was your thought process behind doing that?
Praying. I don't know, hoping for a miracle. I wasn't really that I was bad on super bad on the tires. I was just at that point I was down on power, and even if I got a better run off the corner than somebody, I just had nothing the back half of the straightaway, and I got stuck behind somebody. I don't even really remember who it was. And then there was one time I came off of 4, and they were right on my door, and I just got sucked around and did some Ken block stuff, and the right rear was absolutely gone from that point forward. And I would have liked to have maybe kept going and run the tank dry, but I was like, I can't do this anymore. I mean, it was so bad. The right rear was absolutely gone. So, and I still never got to fix my damage even by the end of the race. So I was hoping, I was the second run or whatever. I was or third, whatever, second to last run. I was like, I'll just run it out and pray that there's a caution, even though I knew there wasn't going to be one. Although I thought I saw somebody hit the pit barrels. I may have just been seeing things, but I thought I saw somebody nosed into it. But Homestead's usually kind of crap with throwing cautions for stuff, so I figured that wasn't going to happen. So
no, as the champion, you got to know the golden rule. You can never hope for a caution, otherwise you're going to end up being the caution.
Well, I almost was half a dozen times, especially the first run when I had no right rear left. But yeah, I was, and it was sucked too because at the end, after I pitted for the last time, because I think we were basically all out of tires at that point, I was like, well, if I get a caution and I stay out, I'm going to get monstered on the restart because I got no power. Or if I pit and fix it, even if I get the car back to 100%, which it still probably wouldn't have been, I'm going to have nothing to go back through the field and try to salvage one of the top whatever streaks that I've had. So it got to a point where it's like, I'm just let it be over. Put me out of my misery. Let's close this book. We'll move on to next year.
Well, what are your thoughts here as we head off to next season? We're going to get a little bit of a break, but not a ton, and coming back in a pretty big way for another 16 race season coming up for 2022B.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can continue kind of the way things have been going. I certainly hope anyways, but it's always hard to do well here, but I'm thankful I at least had one season go really, really well here. And this is a better way to kind of win a championship, I guess, because I won one 2 seasons ago, but I only won one race, and then people were kind of running their mouths and saying that I was an unworthy champion and didn't deserve it. So I wanted to try and make amends last year and got screwed out of it by somebody else, but that's a whole other story. And then, so I kind of won up to the person that said that this year by just winning more races. So we did that instead. But I mean, if we can do it again, then great. But we'll, Fuel's always a really competitive series anyways. So I'm just, again, fortunate to have had the season that I had. If it's the last one that's like this, so be it. At least I did it once.
Well, congratulations on picking up a Fuel Series championship here. And, man, fun show you guys put on. Before we let you go here, make sure you get all the sponsor plugs and thank yous in. A well-earned championship this season here, Mr. Bresci.
Yeah, again, no sponsors. Car's definitely available, though. I guess if anyone's interested in putting their logo on my car for whatever reason. But, shout out again to the JT Motorsports guys, Tyler and Casey. And, shout out to Tyler as well for almost getting himself a top 5. I know he's really close there at the end. He drove a really good race tonight. the TDR guys as well, just for working with them. I don't know where we kind of settled in terms of the team championship. I feel like, because Justin, I think, finished second tonight, there's a chance that they probably still got it, although I think Hayden got wrecked out or something, so I don't know. We'll see. You guys, as always, for doing the broadcast, the admins for putting everything together, and all the series sponsors that were with us this year, the ones that are coming back next year. They got a really decent schedule with a couple of interesting tracks next season I'm looking forward to. So definitely looking forward to some time off and getting back after it here in a couple months.
All right, buddy. Well, congratulations once again on the championship here, Thomas Bressi. And with that, it is time for us to wrap things up here, Patrick. Man, another Fuel Premier Series is in the books. We will be coming back for next season. I am very much looking forward to it. Hopefully, we'll get to have you joining us in the booth as well. And man, the Class B cars here on iRacing, there's a reason that so many leagues run them. It's a pretty good car everywhere you go. You can do different things with it. It's not as finicky as the next-gen car or the old Class A car. Not quite as dumpy as the trucks are in some respects. It's just a fun car to drive, a fun series.
The B car is perfect. It's low enough on power. Now, I don't want to say low power. 600 horsepower is nothing to scoff at. But they've got the shorter wheelbase. They've made them easy enough to drive where anyone can kind of hop in one and go make left turns. But there's enough there in the car where your top guys can still get a good experience out of it, still squeeze every last tenth and keep the car on the edge, and everyone has a good time.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped that we're going to be back here for another season of Fuel Premier Series racing. And with that, it is time for us to get the heck on out of here. A lot of stuff coming up this week. It will be Wednesday night, the next broadcast for us. That'll be the Sim Racers Club, followed by a doubleheader on Thursday night with the Ezra IndyCar Series and the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. No high side hustle this week. Bert and Adam are out chasing Pennsylvania Speed Week around all over the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and our one trip into Maryland. I'm not sure how that happens, that you go to Maryland for Pennsylvania Speed Week, but it works.
I was just about to say,
isn't
it Pennsylvania Speed Week?
Yes, but Hagerstown in Maryland is a fantastic racetrack, and it's basically in PA anyway. It's right on the border. Anyway.
It's a fantastic racetrack,
It's
not
just
in
not in
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, I know. All right, so with that, we're going to have those guys coming up Friday night, Real World Racing from Snydersville Raceway. And then Saturday, the DeWeather Cares Charity Softball Classic. You will find that on the DeWeather Center social media channels. 8 charities across eastern Pennsylvania will be represented by 8 softball teams. Too many sponsors to even try to think about naming those. But really a spectacular event. Thank you to everybody from DeWeather that puts that on. With that, we are getting the heck on out of here. For Patrick Byrne and everybody here at the National Racing Network that makes these broadcasts possible, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will talk to you all soon. Have a good night, everybody.